Welcome to the YouTube channel Pcmb Tutorials. Today we are going to learn class 9th foundation of the subject physics. And our chapter number is 1, that is measurement and units. This is part 1. So in this part we are going to learn we'll learn the introduction of measurements, what are units, the relation between measure of a physical quantity, its magnitude and the magnitude of its unit. Then we'll see some conclusions and we'll solve a question based on it. So let's start. First of all, it is physical quantity in measurement. As in class 8 also we have learned physical quantity. The physical quantity is our first point, which means that any quantity that can be measured and defined is called a physical quantity. Any quantity that can be defined or measured, defined and measured, is called physical quantity. Then next is what is units. What is units? So unit is a standard reference in terms of which the measure of a physical quantity is expressed. It is a standard reference in terms of which physical quantity is expressed. Now there it is, the relation between the measure of a physical quantity and its magnitude and the magnitude of its units. So as in class 8 also we have learned that there is a formula to measure physical quantity. So the formula is physical quantity physical quantity physical quantity is equal to magnitude of physical quantity into units of physical quantity, units of measure of physical quantity. Now if it is the height of the building is 6 meter, so over here the measure m of the physical quantity, that would be height, is equal to 6 meters, where 6 would be the magnitude of the physical quantity and physical quantity is denoted by m, magnitude as n, and units as u. So the physical quantity, magnitude of the physical quantity would be n, and meter is the magnitude of the unit, that is u. Like this. Now there are some conclusions. First one is the product of the magnitude of a physical quantity and the magnitude of unit is constant. And second one is the magnitude of a unit u decreases the magnitude of the physical quantity n and increases, and vice versa. I hope you've understood till this. There are types of physical quantities and their units. So these are the types of physical quantity. Types of physical quantity. First one is fundamental quantities, and second one is derived quantities. So what are the meaning of this fundamental and derived? So a fundamental means those which cannot be expressed in terms of another quantities. Fundamental means cannot be expressed in terms of other quantities. Whereas derived quantities mean that those can be expressed in the terms of other quantities, as it is expressed in the terms of other quantities. There are some types of systems of units based on the fundamental quantities, that are length, mass and time. First of all, I'll give the example of fundamental quantities and derived quantities. The example of fundamental quantities would be time, because it cannot be expressed in other quantities. But derived quantities, the example would be speed, because speed can be expressed as other quantities, that is distance upon time. That's why the difference is that. So the types of systems of units based on the fundamental quantities are, first is FPS. First one is FPS, second is CGS, and third one is MKS. FPS means foot, pound and second. CGS means centimeter, gram, second. And MKS means meter, kilogram and second. Now, what is the need for a standard system of units? So just imagine the situation that an architect worked in Britain all her life and is constantly following a FPS system. She gets an opportunity to construct a wonderful building in Argentina. The system of units here is different, as she is habituated to the British system, that is FPS. She encounters difficulty with some new system. What can be the solution for this situation? So the need arose for a standard system. that is universal system of units which is consistent irrespective of their location. For this purpose, a system of units was derived by scientists and engineers all over the world. This is called the International System or System International D Unites System. Initially, length, mass, and time were the three fundamental quantities. Later, so their units were considered as fundamental units. The SI system introduced four other fundamental quantities and two supplementary quantities. So, in part 2, we are going to learn the fundamental quantities in SI system. The total 10 the total 8 the total 9 quantities, 7 of fundamental and 2 of supplementary. And then we will learn the same thing in the form of a visual, that the units of some derived quantities. We will see the units of some derived quantities and we'll solve 2 questions based on them. I hope you've understood this part 1, the introductory part of this chapter. For any queries and doubt, please join the Telegram link given in the description of this video. Let's meet in part 2. Thank you for watching.